I don't really know why am I bringing this in here, since I'm going to be relying on the B-roll for this one. I guess I just wanted to do this and have a tiny little light and maybe, just maybe, charge my phone. Hey guys, this SwitchBot release is interesting for a couple of reasons. First of all, it barely fits on my table and the reviewing space I've got for this video, so I'm going to be depending on the B-roll for this one. I hope you're alright with this. Second of all, it's a first crossover from SwitchBot from the space of utility tools and gadgets to a, can I call it a furniture space? Because that's what this air purifier is trying to be. And third, there are some pretty cool features on this unit, so let's see what actually SwitchBot is bringing to the table. When SwitchBot has pitched their air purifying unit as a bedside table, I kind of saw this coming because, well, let's face it, sooner or later all those smart gadgets and tech going to be integrated in a regular furniture. And this isn't the first time we've seen something like it. We had TVs built into beds. And even with IKEA, they have their Stark Wind series, which is an air purifier built into a table already. So let's take a closer look at the air purifier from SwitchBot and see how it's different and what do I really think about it. Considering that this air purifying is quite beefy, it kind of makes sense to turn it into something that is less of an eyesore. But this means that SwitchBot is taking a second risk. While offering pretty decent air purifier, they are also going to try to make it pass as a bedside table, which means that people not only going to judge or value this based on its utility, but also they're going to look at it as a furniture and see if it's to their taste. And since you can't really criticize taste, then it's a risky business because not everyone may take a liking to it. While IKEA counterpart looks more like a table and less like a purifier, I don't know about the performance, SwitchBot takes more utilitarian approach and the unit looks like a purifier with a table and a wireless charger and a light attached to it. So in case you weren't sold on the looks alone, there is a plenty of different utilities to sway you towards SwitchBot direction. But before you make a final judgment on how it looks like and whether it matches your furniture set, let's evaluate this as a tech gadget that it is. It is a smart air purifier. It grabs the air from the room and purifies it, removing dust and particles and whatnot. So anyone with asthma or anyone just, willing to have less dust in their surrounding area, maybe in a bedroom, will definitely appreciate that. Now, it's a smart purifier. It connects to 2.4 GHz network, and it comes with a couple of things. I already mentioned it looks like a table. Although the top isn't made of wood, it's kind of made of plastic, which looks like wood. This top is quite cool because it is equipped with ambient light and a 15-watt wireless charger, so you can have it next to your bed, charge your phone, and set a nice mood. Underneath the table part, we have a quick access control panel with most typical functions available via buttons, so you don't actually have to use your phone and play about. You can just simply leave the phone on the table, charging, and start humidifier with a button press in case it's not triggered by any other smart triggers like timers, motion sensors, etc. The actual purifying bit is a beast, mostly because it houses one of the biggest filters I've seen. And that filter is made of multiple parts as well. There is a big particle filter that's gonna tackle stuff like pet hair and big dust. And inside we have a HEPA-approved filter that can tackle particles from 0.1 to 0.3 micrometers, which are like tiny. And as the unit looks mostly industrial rather than fancy furniture, it does boast kinda industrial specification because it's able to push through up to 400 cubic meters per hour of air. And that's a lot because if you're gonna put it on like a room which is 35 square meters, it's gonna purify the air inside that room within minutes. Now I know what to expect, so let's take a look at everything in details. Let's start with the top. So we have this small table, which is okay size for a couple of accessories, a cup of coffee, a phone, and maybe a book. It's not a massive table, but it has built-in wireless charger, which is definitely handy. Now, you may smirk because it's only 15-watt charger and there are more powerful options available. However, since this is a piece of furniture that is likely to be next to your bed, it makes sense to make that wireless charging not the most powerful thing ever, because actually slow wireless charging is more beneficial for your battery life, and since you're gonna be charging your phone overnight, I don't think it matters that your phone's gonna take 2-3 hours before it gets fully charged. In my testing, each night I was going to bed around midnight, waking up at 7, and my phone was fully charged and ready for action in the morning. Next up, just below the deck, we have that RGB LED light. And that light, well, it's not sufficient for reading. It's a mood light, so you can set the mood around the room without being too bright on your eyes, which is ideal if you're just trying to go to bed. But if you want to read the book, you're gonna need another light. Now, there are a couple of clever things about this light. First of all, it's a RGB LED, and you can set it to, well, only 10 colors for some reason. I hope they're gonna change that, because that seems silly to get that limited to arbitrary number of colors. However, it can act as a smart light too. And what do I mean by smart light? Other than triggering it whenever you want, you can link that light to the air quality, so you can visually display how good is the air around the room by displaying different colors. And this is something I really like, because it saves you from looking at the phone and trying to figure out whether you should run one of these or not. And while we're speaking of that, I really have a cool idea in my head to take advantage of the fact that we have access to that light, because I could link that light to my smartphone and display also, instead of just air quality, the percentage of charge that is currently on my mobile phone, so I can see when it's actually being charged or when the phone is ready to go. And I can make it also smarter, so as soon as the charging is done, it will switch over to the different option, whether you had it as a fixed color or whether the light would continue monitoring the air quality. This is something for future write-ups if you're interested, and would you like to see this happen? You know how YouTube works. Come on, guys, just follow me. To monitor the air quality, the unit is equipped in infrared PM2.5 sensor, and obviously that is equipped with a fan, filters to circulate all that air around the room. And as I mentioned, that filter is quite big, and apart from filtering the bigger and smaller particles, it also has with the active carbon layer that's meant to remove all smells as well. So if you have pets, apparently you will appreciate that. Now, I don't have pets, I couldn't verify that. However, I have a very peculiar situation right now at home, and I kind of have to admit that I was torture testing this unit. You probably know that I moved houses, and one of the things that is still outstanding is my bedroom, because I had to remove the wall, put a new one, and start plastering, and then sanding down my shoddy plastering to apply the new layer of... Anyway, to the point, since I was making a lot of dust and constantly wearing a mask and having a windows open, I was wondering how quickly that SwitchBot Air Purifier would deal with excessive dust created from sanding down the drywall. And to verify that I'm actually making a mess and the SwitchBot internal sensor is not lying to you, I got one of those IKEA sensors too, to provide me with alternative results, just in case I want to verify if this sensor inside is correct. And once everything was set, I put my air purifier inside my unfinished bedroom and started to sand the drywall. It only took a couple of minutes to make me start coughing and actually get the dust levels around sensors to unpleasant levels, saying that it's red and you should really do something about all of the dust in the air. The testing scenario was set. It was time to launch the air purifier and figure out how quickly it can actually get this air to more manageable levels. I'm not going to lie to you, I'd like to keep you in suspense a little bit longer, but my room is only tiny. It's only about 15 square meters, and this purifier can tackle up to 35. So, to absolutely no surprise of anyone, it tackled it really quickly. Within 5 minutes, the particle count from 200 went all the way down to about 12, and that result was fairly consistent between IKEA sensor and the built-in sensor inside the unit. I have to account for differences because those sensors were in a different area, so discrepancy is granted. But honestly, after 5 minutes of this running at full speed, the air was pretty pleasant and I was no longer choking, proving that, yeah, this thing does its thing quite well. And while I wouldn't probably recommend you to use it as a dust extractor for your messy plastering jobs, it will definitely deal with typical dust that you will find in your flats from hoovering and cleaning and just having pets and general mess. There was one problem. At the fastest setting, this thing was pretty loud. Thankfully, that is not the only way to run it. Apart from 3 speed options, this air purifier can run in a night mode, and night mode is really quiet. Yes, you can hear it, but you have to kind of focus and start listening to it, and even though I had it very close to my bed, it didn't bother me at all, and if you have it in reasonable distance, I don't think it will bother you either. And considering how fast and efficient it is, it would be recommended to run it for a couple of minutes just before you go to bed and then have it on the night mode for the duration of the night, so you could enjoy nice dust-free air while you're sleeping. At this point, the last thing I have to do is just take a look at the app and see what kind of smarts and controls we have, because you already seen the controls for basic via buttons. So let's open the SwitchBot app. In there, the controls are pretty straightforward. You can either set that unit on a timer or link it to different trigger conditions, or you can use the particle count, granted not as a numerical value but low, high, etc., to trigger the humidifier and make sure that you always have a nice clean air in your, for example, bedroom. Since it's a SwitchBot environment, it works via Bluetooth and your phone, so you don't have to have a hub. It also connects to the Wi-Fi because it's permanently connected, so you'll be able to integrate it easily with stuff like Alexa and Google Home and trigger it remotely through voice commands. But overall, the controls are pretty simplistic, and the most interesting part of it is probably just watching the graph of how clean your air becomes while this air purifying is working. We're getting close to the end of this video, which means you're gonna make a judgment whether you like it or hate how it looks, or whether you would like this to be more of a purifier and less of a table. I'm gonna leave that call to you, but what you have to probably know is a price of this unit. Right now, you can get SwitchBot Air Purifier for £299.99. And it might seem like a lot, but that depends on how much you struggle with dusty air inside of your house and if you want a device that is really good at cleaning air in a short period of time. But if you want to save a buck or two, just head to the description of this video, click on the link. SwitchBot often runs nice bundles and promotions, and you'll be able to save a couple of quid off the final price. So I would strongly recommend you to check it out, especially if there is a sale period, because they have nice promotions there. And while NotEnoughTECH isn't switching over to review different furniture types anytime soon, I have another unit from SwitchBot that is coming onto the review table very, very soon, which is also big. So stick around and you'll find out what that is. As for now, guys, I do not have a posting schedule. If you want to know what's next, it's very easy to find out because you know how YouTube works. Also, a couple of social media links down below, so do check them out and let me know what would you like to see being reviewed or covered next, and I'll definitely consider that. So big thanks to SwitchBot for providing me the unit for the review and making my plastering jobs a little bit easier. Sorry for abusing your unit. And big thanks to me for making this video and to you for watching it. Take care. Bye.